It's been over 10 months since the country went under the state of disaster, resulting in various lockdowns and restrictions, including working hours and access to services. With the country still under lockdown level 3, how have young people fared during these 10 months and who has been championing their needs? Wasseen Karim, CEO of the National Youth Development Agency, joins us now to talk about these issues and more. Wasseen, good evening and thank you very much for your time tonight. Of course, the youth are being disproportionately hit even harder during these COVID times as the economy is shut down when they already were battling with issues of unemployment. How are you fighting for those young people who still believe they can change their lives?
Yeah, good evening. Good evening to the viewers as well. So I think, South Africa's response to COVID-19 can be divided into the health response and the economic response. And I think from the health, well, primarily initially it was the health response and keeping people safe. But that had a major economic impact, as we know. And I think looking at it from a really global perspective is to say that South Africa had two main economic measures that responded to COVID-19. The one was the social distress relief grant of 350 Rand a month, which is now benefiting about 5 million people, a lot of them young people, unemployed young people. And I think there's a broader ideological question beyond COVID-19 about that income grant continuing on an ongoing basis. We know it comes to an end in January, and I think there's a strong lobby to extend it. The other one being the UIF Temporary Employment Relief Scheme. And that was also a major support to the economy. I think more than 5 million employees and employers benefiting from the temporary employment relief will also now coming to an end or came to an end in December. And those were really the two main things that propped up the economy during the crisis, and both have very strong lobbies to continue into the future. I think President Ramaphosa's initial, economic stimulus in around October. There was a major program to support youth employment. So 300,000 young people were recruited to be teachers' assistants and general assistants, becoming South Africa's largest public employment program for young people. We know youth unemployment was a major issue before COVID-19, will continue to be a major problem. And public employment has been identified as one of the strategies which can assist with youth employment, although it's not the only strategy that can take it forward. And then I think there's been numerous other measures. So relief to small businesses owned by young people, support to small-scale agricultural farmers by the Department of Agriculture, and quite a bit of private sector support as well through the Solidarity Fund, as well as I think we saw the Skuma Fund and those kind of funds come on board, particularly to support small businesses through the lockdown.
Let's talk a bit more about your Micro Enterprise Relief Fund. I mean, that literally supported youth-owned enterprises for just 3 months. And one would say that was not nearly enough. What happens to the 1,100 youth-owned enterprises that you've started in the township? Who's supporting them right now?
Yes, I mean, naturally, we had to put together some kind of response to economic lockdowns or to the lockdowns that came about. And I think the relief that we put together benefited a considerable amount of enterprises. Our own monitoring and evaluation suggests that about 80% of businesses who received that relief were able to stay alive through COVID-19 and keep their businesses afloat. I fully agree with you that it is insufficient. The support primarily to small businesses in South Africa has been insufficient. Even if we look at something like the Loan Guarantee Scheme, has not totally achieved its goal of supporting small businesses, which we know cannot tap into the major reserves that big businesses have. Unfortunately, in South Africa, money is a finite number, and we have to prioritize. If we prioritize bailing out state-owned enterprises like SAA, it means there will be less money for small businesses. And I think we have to start getting our ideas right about what we support and who we support, because unfortunately money is a finite number. We continuously applied for more money for small businesses, and that unfortunately didn't come to fruition. So these are, I think, some of the important debates we need to be having as the country.
You've opened 15 new service delivery portals. I mean, what help does that bring for the youth? I mean, these are portals. The actual assistance that young people who own enterprises need right now is maybe money to start or even money to keep their businesses running. opening 15 more offices, how does that help them?
Yeah, so I think, the idea around offices is one of the criticisms against the organization has always been the fact that it is not necessarily accessible to all young people in the country, predominantly those in rural areas. Now, the strategy we follow is to say it costs money to open these kind of offices. There's large overheads that go into them, and that means taking money out of project kind of budgets, like you say, money that goes to young people. And therefore, most of these sites are opened in collaboration with local municipalities, which means we don't pay expensive rentals. The municipalities cover overhead costs, and it means it brings us slightly closer to young people, predominantly in rural areas. Again, that cannot be the only strategy. I mean, COVID has shown a shift away from being in the office. Last year, towards the end of October, working with many partners, the Department of Employment and Labor, the Harambee Youth Employment Accelerator, we launched a portal called SA Youth. It's free. Young people can visit it on sayouth.mobi, and it provides a technological solution for young people to access mainly economic opportunities closest to where they live. So opening service delivery channels is not the only strategy to young people. It's got to be hybrid in nature. And I think using the power of technology, we can reach a lot more young people out there.
So Naseem, when you say something like that, it raises hope, Waseem, in young people to say, well, there are these opportunities. What are those opportunities? Because you're saying, okay, I've opened this portal because I'm opening the portal for you to access these opportunities. And a young person sitting right now watching us saying, okay, where are these opportunities? Because I really need to tap into those.
Yeah, 100%. So, I mean, as I've mentioned, SA Youth is a portal set up specifically for young people. It's data free, so young people can visit it on sayouth.mobi.co.za. They can get more information on it on the NYDA website. And really what it allows us to help young people build a profile for themselves, list their skills, where they've studied, what's their highest level of education, and connect them with opportunities closest to where they live. I've mentioned the basic education program. I mean, 300,000 is not a small number. It brings down the overall unemployment rate by 1%, So these are major programs, and I think we'll see a lot more of these kind of programs as we move into the new financial year post the State of the Nation and the budget speech of the Minister of Finance. So I encourage young people to get involved. And as we've said, I think jobs, public employment, youth entrepreneurship are multiple strategies that we can use for young people. And as much as COVID-19 has been a real difficulty and a real challenge for our country, I think it also does give an opportunity for a rebuilding of a more fair and more opportunistic economy.
All right, Waseem Karim, CEO of the National Youth Development Agency, I appreciate your time and thank you for joining us tonight on the Newsfeed Late Night.